I'm going to do the 1.2 homework problems that we went over today in class. So I'll start with challenge 1. Alright, challenge 1 is 5 equals W divided by -4 minus 3. And the directions state to solve for the specified variable, and in this case the variable is W. So the goal of solving an equation is to isolate the variable. So we want to get it completely alone. So sometimes it helps if you box in where the variable is in the original equation, because since the W is in this fraction, we can't do anything with it until we move the -3. So we'll add 3 on each side. Five plus 3 is 8. The -3 plus 3 is 0, so that's why I crossed it out. And then you bring down what you have left over on the right side, which is W divided by -4. Now, when I say right side, so imagine that there's a line going through the equal signs. This is the left side of the equal sign, and this is the right side of the equal sign. So when I say left or right, this is what I'm referring to. Some people like to draw that line every time they solve an equation. You don't have to, but if it helps, then you should do it. So now we need to do our last step. Since W is being divided by -4, I need to do the opposite operation, which is multiplication. Well, there's an understood 1 here in front of the W, and the reciprocal of 1 over -4 is -4 over 1. So I'm going to multiply by -4 over 1 on each side. So on the right side, these divide to 1, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. And so we're left with the W to bring down. And then -4 times 8 is -32. Now, -4 over 1 is the exact same thing as -4. So that's why you're just multiplying the -4 by the 8. So we can check this to make sure that we have the correct solution. We substitute in the -32 where the W is, because that is what we solved for. If we're stating that W equals -32, then we put it back where the W is. So we have to divide first over here because order of operations state that you divide before you subtract. So -32 divided by -4 is +8, and then you subtract the 3. Well, 5 equals 5 is a true statement, so therefore it checks, and this is the correct solution. Okay, now let's go to challenge 2. Challenge 2 is D minus 8, all divided by -2. That equals 12. So I tell my students that usually in a two-step equation, usually you will add or subtract first. Usually that will happen. This equation is the exclusion, okay? Because as you can see, our variable is being subtracted by 8, and it's way up here in the numerator of this fraction. So our variable is being subtracted by 8, and it's up here in the numerator. So we're going to view d minus 8 as one thing. You can't break it apart. You can't say negative 8 divided by negative 2, okay? So in order to isolate the d minus 8, because that will get us one step closer to isolating d, we have to multiply by negative 2 on each side. So because these divide to 1, and there's an understood 1 that's multiplied by the d minus 8, so those divide to 1 as well. Well, what we have left over is in the box, d minus 8. So you bring that down on the left, and then 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Put that on the right, and then add 8 on both sides, and you'll get negative 16. Oh, sorry, negative 16. There we go. So let's check. Negative 16 minus 8 divided by negative 2 equals 12. That's negative 24 divided by negative 2 equals 12. That's 12 equals 12, which is a true statement. Now, if you want to put this in your calculator to check, then you need to put the negative 16 minus 8 in parentheses before you divide by negative 2. Because if you don't do that, your calculator will divide negative 8 by negative 2 and then add negative 16 to it, which is not what's happening here. Okay? And then I'll do challenge 3. Challenge 3 is negative 3 equals 12y minus 5 times 2y minus 7. We have the distributive property in this equation. So if you ever see a group of terms being grouped, that's kind of redundant, but the 2y minus 7 is being grouped by these parentheses. These are called grouping symbols. Grouping symbols. Okay? We have this negative 5 here, and it is being multiplied by this entire expression, the 2y minus 7. So we're going to distribute the negative 5 to the 2y, and we're going to distribute the negative 5 to the negative 7. And the operation that is happening whenever you distribute is multiplication. So let me bring down everything I haven't used yet. So negative 5, that is a negative 5 times 2y is negative 10y. Negative 5 times negative 7 is positive 35. So now I see I have like terms on the right. We have a 12y and a negative 10y. A like term is a number or variable that has the exact same variable and the same exponent. So what I mean by that is the 12 is being multiplied by y, and the negative 10 is being multiplied by y. And both y's have an exponent of 1. So therefore these two terms are like terms. So 12 minus 10 is 2. So we have 2y plus 35. We're getting closer and closer to isolating the y. Now let's subtract 35 on each side. That will be negative 38 equals 2y. And our very last step will be to divide by 2. Y equals negative 19. Now I'm going to check this. This one is a little more difficult. it looks more difficult to check. Let me rephrase that. So I'm going to put parentheses where I'm substituting in negative 19 for y. That takes care of separating this negative sign from any other number. So we have 12 times negative 19 here, and we have a negative 19 here. So I'm going to check this by hand for you. So order of operations states, like I said earlier, you have grouping symbols. I mentioned this. Your grouping symbols are here. So we need to simplify what's inside the grouping symbols first. So 2 times negative 19 is negative 38 minus 7 is negative 45. So that's the very first thing I can do. Now, inside the grouping symbols, you also have to follow order of operations. So inside, we see that we have multiplication here and subtraction here. You have to multiply or divide before you can add or subtract. So that is why I multiplied 2 and negative 19 and then subtracted 7. All right. So now I can multiply 12 times negative 19. It's negative 228. And then negative 5 times negative 45 is a positive 225. Negative 228 plus 225 has a difference of 3, so negative 3. And this is a true statement, so our answer is correct. If you want to check this using your calculator, you put that in your calculator exactly as it's written. So you'll have the parentheses in there exactly where they are. This will be a negative sign. This is a minus sign. This is negative. That's minus. All right. So that's challenge 1, 2, and 3, and I will do 4 and 5 in just a minute.